Lisa here at Shady Tree Stitches, joining you for another weekly update. Thanks so much for taking the time to see what we've been up to. This is a special regular episode in that you're getting to see my regular stitching, and then at the end I'm going to pop on Jenny's WIP Parade, so you get to see all her WIPs for the start of 2022. So you get both of us this week, sort of. Okay, so I have been busy stitching. I have been working my way through all my different challenges, and I've had more questions about this, so I'm going to show you straight away. This is my little challenge guide sheet. Across the top I have all the challenge groups that I am participating in, which is WIP Go, Daily 30, No New Starts, Mythological Stitches, Pop Culture, and Down Under Divas, which is a new one. Down the side here we have got my focus pieces for the month. So that's 6 WIP Go, 3 Daily 30, a full coverage, and then there's room for about 2 or 3 others. Down the bottom is my sale that I've had to add on because Daily 30 have added the sale, and up the top I squeezed in my temperature bookshelf. So that means that each month I am working on 14 pieces in the month, and I'm enjoying that immensely. And you can see from the colouring, I've written down each time there's a prompt, what fits it, what can I double dip, and then I'm colouring it in for the week. So today officially starts the 3rd week, so I get to use a different colour. But there you are, purple is what I did in the 1st week, and the green is what I did in the last week since I saw you. So that is my planning system, and that is how I keep track of everything. I am really loving that. If you're interested and you want a copy of that pro forma, just flick an email to me at shadytreestitches.com@gmail.com, and I will flick it back to you. All right, so what have I worked on since I've seen you? Well, as I said, I have been working on mostly the same pieces. I thought I didn't have a lot to show you. I'm going to start with the most recent one because it's the biggest. And this is my Amazing Animal Kingdom bookshelf, which I should be nice and show you in case you've been under a rock. This is what it looks like. And I am up in this corner up here. So in my Amazing Animal Kingdom bookshelf, I am using my full coverage focus for the month. And I have currently done just over 700 stitches on it. So this is where it's up to now. I have spent today working all around this elephant and this bookshelf. That's what I've been filling in. So you can see that that is looking a lot more fuller. Now I did see some people who were able to put them side by side. I'm not quite that fancy. I'm not sure if that's an iPad thing as opposed to a non-iPad thing, but I use a MacBook to do my videoing, my processing of my video, I guess, editing. So I'm not sure how I can do that, but I can put it up now and you can see how much those 700 stitches has improved the piece. I am also working on one of my WIP Go pieces, which is called the Samurai, and he's fitting into a lot of prompts, and I have currently done about 700 to 800 on him, and that's where he's up to now. So his whole right shoulder and tree are finished, his face is finished, and hair apart from the back stitch. So I will probably do his left shoulder and then move the Q-snap and work my way down. My WIP Go goal was 2200 stitches on each of the 6 pieces, but I'm finding with all the other prompts and trying to fit things in, that's probably stretching myself a bit too far. So I'm going to cut back to 1200 stitches on each of those 6. And then if we do extra, bonus. Okay, so that is the Samurai. He's under the needle for today to get some more love done. I also did quite a lot of work on this one, Shabby Autumn Calendar from Cuore Batikore. And I've currently done about another 700 on that. Finished totally finished totally that number 14 block of the schoolhouse and starting on the jars of jams for number 13. So I'm hoping to get a lot more done on that too in the coming week, but that's where that one has got to. Then I've also been working pretty much daily on my bookshelf, the temperature bookshelf, and this is how it's looking. You can see that I've got so far quite a few green books of 2 different shades of green, so that's interesting to track my stitches. It's also interesting that the 1st and 2nd January I did the same colour, and I've noticed that my last book I've stitched there, I haven't done this for 2 days, so I've got 2 days to do today, but are both the same amount. So I'm going to have 2 more books of the same colour, but really happy with how that one is progressing. So the other large one I worked on was my stitching time, which again got about 700 stitches, and this one's on one of my frames that I've made, but there you go. I've been working on all this black part here, so it's pretty cool. You can see how the cross country is going. So I'm nearly halfway at the cross country. And the other good thing about these frames is that when you're not using them, you can just scroll them up and then pop them safely away in a, I made myself bags, but you can just use a tube or something. So it's really handy. Also, so that's what a stitching time looks like for anyone who doesn't know. Joyeux Noel. Joyeux Noel got a lot of love. Check that out. So that's looking pretty good with all its extra stitches. Sorry, family came home. So that was 509 stitches on Joyeux Noel. And then the last one that I've worked on this week is my sale, Cross Stitch Nation. And I'm very excited to say that I have totally finished Sue. Sue's totally finished in her lovely brown variegated dress. And this piece I am stitching using cottage garden threads. So really, really happy with how they're going. So I'm looking forward to getting some in stock in my store. So that, people, is all my stitching for the week. 4,057 stitches for those who like to keep track like me, which is a really good number, and I'm really pleased with how it's going. So I'm going to head into next week with the same idea. I've got a few other pieces that I haven't yet touched from my rotation. I need to do work on the world postage stamps, and I need to do work on Once Upon a Fairy Tale. So they're the ones that I have to touch this week. So we'll see where the prompts lead me. All right, I don't have any haul. I do have a little bit of PaddockLaneDesigns stuff to show you at the end, but I'm going to pop Jenny in here so you can check out her WIPs.
Hi everyone, this is Jenny from the Shady Tree Stitches. This is a channel about cross stitching, and this is my WIP Parade for 2021. I know Lisa did hers a couple of weeks ago. It was a few days before I arrived to stay with her. We didn't have time to film mine while I was there. Then I was home for one night, and then I've spent most of this week staying at my brother's place minding his dogs. So I'm home now, and so I have the opportunity to do my WIP Parade. So it's a little bit late. It's now the 9th of January, but this will be showing you all of my stitching from 2021. So I will show you my WIPs in order from oldest to newest, and let's get started. Okay, so my first one is my Castle Sampler, Teresa Wensler. Now this is a kit. I bought it in the UK in my early 20s. At the time it was very, very expensive. It was £36. That was back when the Australian dollar was about 50p. So yeah, so it was very expensive, and but I just absolutely loved it. Don't know why I haven't didn't really get into stitching it much until the last sort of couple of years. Anyway, Here is where I was at the beginning of 2020. Sorry, the end of 2020, beginning of 2021. Oops. So that's where I was up to. So this is a kit. So I'm using the kit material, which is 27 count even weave and all the kit threads. So that's where I started the year. And then I finished the year. I'm just going to show you a screenshot again, simply because I've been doing quite a bit of stitching on it this week. So it doesn't look like where I finished the year. So this is where I got to at the end of 2021. So as you can see, I've sort of done a little bit here to work my way over to the border, and then did quite a bit of work on the border. Not quite as much as I had planned. My original plan for this one was I was doing the semi-sane alphabet, which is where you were supposed to stitch on anything that had an alphabet and do like switch from one letter to the next every 2 weeks. Yeah, didn't quite get there. I did make some progress, but not a whole lot. So this project is in my one of my project bags from Teaser Handmaids. It's a Downton Abbey one. I thought, you know, Castle, Downton Abbey. It's not quite the same thing, but close enough. I like to try and match my project bags to the projects that are in them. It helps me remember which one's which. Don't know if anybody else does that. Okay, my next WIP is another old one. So these ones were started sometime before 2000. I don't know exactly when. This was not one that I worked on last year. This is Elegant Bookmarks. So I've just done the first one. So I'm very close to finishing. I'm up to back stitching and French knots. There are a lot of French knots. So this and this, they're actually Lily of the Valley. At the moment, it's just the leaves and the stalks. There are no lilies. So that's all the French knots. And you can see I've started doing a bit of the back stitching at this end. There's still a whole lot more to go to make all of those flowers look like flowers. But that's going into my rotation for 2022. So I'm hoping that that will be one that gets finished, should get finished. There's not that much to do. That's the plan anyway. Okay, and again, so that was a kit using the kit fabric and the kit threads. My next one is another one that I didn't work on this year. And again, this is another one from pre-2000. It's my Cats in Stockings. So this one, I've done a few of them. No. So there are some of the ones that I've done already. And then I started, I don't know which way up this goes. I'm going to guess it goes that way, but I really don't know. So that's the start of another one. This one is not in my rotation for this year. When I started this, this is how long ago. I hadn't worked out that I needed to have them more widely spaced than that to be able to actually cut them apart and turn them into decorations. Then I did work it out, so these ones are better spaced, and then that is 4. You can see I've got the little mark in the middle. It's the divided into 4 to make it a little bit easier to actually be able to turn them into proper decorations when I finished. Oh, and then 2 more. So yes, so that one's not going to be worked on this year. This is one that I inherited from my mum, I think. So yeah. I have lots of friends who have cats, so I could well make some of them. I suppose even if I'm not stitching, I could potentially fully finish some of the ones that have already been stitched. Okay, next is my Poppy Tuffet. otherwise known as Viscornu. So this one started 2021 looking like picture. Here we go. So that's where it started the year. This one, do I have a start date for this one? Just let me see. No, this one was also probably not before 2000, but certainly before 2020. It was a gift from Lisa, one of the times that she came to stay. It was a thank you for having me present, which is very sweet of her. I believe bought from the Fox collection way back in the day. And it has finished the year. I think it goes that way, looking like that. So if I go right close in, you can see I've done most of the back stitch around the very outer edge. Just make it straight. So yes, so I've done a fair bit on that. I mean, not heaps, but yeah, you can see significant progress. So all good. The back is much simpler than the front. Obviously, it just has a flower in each corner and one in the middle, not as much of the decoration. This is a bag that I bought a set of the 3 different size pouches from Dimmix. They're supposed to be travel pouches. You can put food and stuff in them. So I figured if food can go in them, then they're safe for stitching. And so they're famous artworks. You'll see the other 2 in due course. Okay. My next WIP was started on the 1st of October 2019. It's another Teresa Wensler. It's my Peaceable Kingdom. This is the one I'm doing for my nephew who's just turned 18. And it started the year looking like started the year looking like this. So this is a little bit, this is sort of shadow. This is the very top of the boy's head, and then there's a little bit of tree above. Started in the middle. And it finished the year looking like that way. There we go. So a fair bit more done. Again, not heaps, but yeah, still a fair amount of progress. The blue is the beginning of the boy's jacket. So yeah, making a little bit of progress on that one. That's going to be a little bit of a focus this year. I hope said nephew has put in a request that maybe it could be for his 21st. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Hope. Oh, that's 3 years away. Don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Okay, my next one is a little Mill Hill kit called Holiday Treasured Sampler. This was started in November 2019. There's the picture of what it will look like when it's finished. So again, it's a kit. Oh, sorry, the Peaceable Kingdom. That is, I've used the called for fabric, which is 28 count platinum cashel linen, and I'm just using DMC threads with that one. So yeah, so this one is another one. It's a kit. It is 28 count linen and the threads from the kit, and it started the year looking like this. So yeah, I've made a start. These little hearts are quite interesting. You do cross stitch and then you do this other stitching over the top to make it sort of more 3D. Can't remember what the stitch is called. And it finished the year. Oops. Looking like this. So I've done the cross stitch for the red, and I've done this top bit of border and a few other little bits and pieces, not a whole lot. It's a bit slow going because so you can see, like, even in here, these holly leaves, there's like 3 cross stitches and then 3 beads for each one. It's quite fiddly, and you know, do I change the needle or do I just use the beading needle, and then some of the time it's 1 thread and some of the time it's 2 threads, and yeah. That's in just a little pouch from Silks for You, which matches my next project bag, a big Paris one. So this is Reflections of Paris by Ink Circles, also started in November 19. This is on 35 count watermelon. Oops. That's what it, I'm trying to get it not reflecting. I mean, I know it's called Reflections of Paris, but we don't want reflections on the picture. So that's the picture. So you can see there's the Eiffel Tower in the middle with the Arc de Triomphe behind it. There's the pyramid from the Louvre. I think that's the rose window from Notre Dame. There's a whole bunch of different Paris landmarks all mixed in together. Yes, I have a bit of a fascination with Paris, always have, despite the fact I've only ever spent 1 day there. So far. So this one started the year looking like this. So yeah, so this one, it's on 35 count watermelon colored material, and I'm using a DMC metallic E317 and a not a, the matte one is not a DMC, it's actually a Venus thread. I'm not quite sure what the DMC equivalent is. And it, oops, finished the year. Yes. So I've got all the way up into the corner, and I've done, that's pretty much what the sparkly will be. So I'm doing all of the Eiffel Tower, and then a little bit of the rose window, and just a few little flowers in sparkly metallic, just to add a bit of interest. But I wanted to get to one corner with that amount of metallic to see, is that sufficient metallic? Am I happy with that? Which I am, so I'm going to continue. And once again, the lighting in here is making it look more like it's tomato colored material rather than, we'll just quickly go back to, that's more the real color. It's much more that sort of a watermelon colored fabric. So yeah, that's that one. All right, I have to keep putting these away as I go because I don't want to get them. I don't have hundreds. I don't have nearly as many WIPs as Lisa. I've got about a quarter of what she's got, but even so, it's enough that I still want to keep them into some kind of order and under control. Okay, my next one is Portrait of Antique Vines by Mirabilia. It's my only Mirabilia, and for most of last year, that's what it looks like. For most of last year, it was my only full coverage. I know it's really tiny, but it is full coverage. You stitch every stitch of that. So this one I am doing on a piece of 20 count easy grid Ada. It was an offcut that someone had at the Mittagong Stitches retreat in 2019, and so she gave it to me for me to have a turn of stitching. And so I thought, well, if I'm going to do a proper test run before I try buying 20 count easy grid or whatever size for any bigger project. It needs to be a decent project, one that's got a decent amount of stitching so I can get a full idea. Anyway, so yes, so that's what I did. So this one was started on the 10th of January 2020. So I'm using, I'm not using the called for colors. The called for ones are Karen water lilies, but they're not color fast. And if I'm going to wash out the grid lines, then I needed to have color fast ones. So I found Gentle Arts that are close enough to the colors, plus just DMC 310 for the black. So it started the year looking like this. So I've done a decent amount. I did have to go over, I wasn't happy with the coverage. I was just using sort of odds and ends, like tail ends of various different bits of black. And I discovered that black is not the same as black is not the same as black. So there were certain sections in the actual silhouette part that I've gone over with one additional strand of thread just to make it look a little bit thicker so that it kind of matched the rest of the piece. So it finished the year like this. So I've got, this is the very top, this is the far side on this side, this is the far side on that side. So I haven't quite reached the bottom yet, but yeah, making good progress on that. Quite happy with the variegation in the pink at the top. I will also, because I'm doing it on 20 count and the original pattern is 32. Yes, 32 count linen or 16 count Ada. So I've actually bought two different sizes of beads, like the called for ones and then the slightly smaller ones, because I don't know when I get to that point. I may need to use the smaller ones just to make it fit in the spaces. And that is in another Silks for You little pouch. They're quite colourful on the inside as well. I think this one's just got a pale pink pattern on the inside. Okay. Next is Little House Neighborhood. So this was started, this was a leap day start, started on the 29th of February 2020. So this Little House Neighborhood. So this is the one that I'm I started doing as a stitch along with Lisa. She's finished hers already. But anyway, so this one I am doing on 28 count Brittany Lugana in Snowy Mountains by Pole Stitches, and using the DMC threads. It started the year looking like this. So the reason why this house kind of didn't get finished is because that's where the page finishes. I did keep going with the tree just to finish that strand of thread. But yeah, that's why that house is kind of cut off where it is. So yeah, so that's where I started the year. And oops, this is where I got to. So I've made quite a lot of progress, particularly on that bottom section, and moving over, and my most recent stitching was starting this. It is actually dark red. It's kind of looking kind of brownish, a lot more brown in this light, but yes. So yes, so slow progress, but as with all my pieces, slow progress, but there is progress. So that's where that one's up to. This one's in another teaser project bag. This one that's a piece that I stitched a very long time ago, and I kept wondering what to do with it. So Taryn made Lisa a project bag with a piece of her stitching on it, and I thought that's a really cool idea. I'm going to do that. So yes, so I have my house bag with little house neighborhood in it, you know, as I was saying, trying to match my pieces, and that's why the Paris bag has the reflections of Paris in it. Right, okay, next on the list is Family Quaker by Verbena cross stitch. Now this one is on a piece of material that I got from the Mittagong Stitchers retreat in our goodie bag. Oh, sorry. Sure, picture would be useful. This is the Family Quaker. This one was started on the 14th of March. So Irina Verba, who is Verbena cross stitch, she was offering a free pattern to anyone who agreed to. The theory was you're supposed to stitch it in that year. I'm still working on it, but as with all my pieces, I am making progress. Slow progress, but progress nonetheless. All right, so this one started the year looking like, oops, that's where I started the year. So this is on a piece of material from the Mittagong Stitchers retreat, and I'm using Silks for You from a grab bag that I also got at the Mittagong Stitchers retreat, which are close to the colours that were called for in the pattern. So yeah, so that's where it started the year, and it has finished the year. There we go. So the border is a Dinky Dyes silk, which is like Silks for You original. They were originally Dinky Dyes. They sold the Dinky Dyes business and then started up again with a new name. So yeah, so that's what I'm up to. So I'm planning to do, the border in this variegated, and then I'm going to put the initials in the variegated thread as well. That's my plan. Oh, and the other change that I'm doing in the pattern, so on this side opposite the rose is supposed to be a sheep. Everything else in the pattern is symmetrical, more or less symmetrical, one side to the other. So just stay up here. For example, this bird, there's another bird on that side. You can see the tree's the same. This pot, there's a pot on that side, it's just got blue flowers. There's a key on either side. So everything else is symmetrical. So I thought the rose and then the sheep on that side, it looked a little bit. So I'm going to do a rose on the other side, but with the pale pink flower instead. So that's my little personalization on that one, as well as with the color variation. And that's in a stitch and button bag. Vicky Gable is Stitch and Button on Facebook, I think. So yeah, different following inside, and she does really cute little matching kind of zipper pulls. So this one's got a little Paris suitcase on the bottom. Okay, that one, did I say when I started that one? Yes, I did. Okay, then my next one is Strawberry Fields by Blackbird Designs. That's in another stitch and button bag, another Paris themed one. This time with a little Eiffel Tower on the bottom. In case you hadn't worked it out, I like Paris. So yes, so Strawberry Fields, Blackbird Designs, one of their Magical Mystery series, and it was started, this was Lisa's birthday start. So started it, we had a stitchy retreat for her birthday. So this was started 13th of June 2020. And it started the year looking like this. It is stitched on 36 count even weave that I bought from the sewing basket. And I'm using the DMC conversion for the threads. With a couple of changes because I discovered that there were 2 of the greens and 2 of the pinks were too similar, like they were very, very close. You weren't going to be able to see enough definition between them to make it, you know, to give the definition that you want in the piece. Now this piece of material is very large, so I've started right up in the top corner because I wasn't sure how big it was going to be and I didn't want to cut it off until I worked it out. So that's what I'm up to for this one. So again, not huge progress, but still noticeable progress. So quite like this one. It's a lot smaller than I thought it was going to be, but that's okay. That means I've got space to do. I've got Long and Winding Road, which is another one in the series. Might do that on the same material. We shall see. Okay. All right. I think we're about halfway. Okay, next is my tribal Eiffel Tower. This was my birthday start. This is by White Willow Stitching. Yet again, Paris. And this is in another one of the bags I got from Beatrix. So Mona Lisa on this one. This is on a piece of 16 count Ada that I tea dyed, but I tea dyed it with fruit tea. So it's sort of slightly pinky. It's quite pale. You can't really see. That's where it started the year. So again, Eiffel Tower needle minder to go with my Eiffel Tower stitching. And the thread that I'm using is Karen Water Lilies, and I can't tell you the color because I've wound the thread around the label, so I can't tell you what color it is. Anyway, it's a nice pretty variegation that matches the material quite well. So this is where it finished the year. Yeah. So there you can get all of the color variation in the thread. I thought that would be quite good. Give me enough sort of variation without it being too much. No, that one's going to slide off. Okay. My next one, Sewing with Mama. Now this one, this is the only one of my WIPs that I went into No New Starts 2021 with that I did no work on. So I think that's not too bad. That out of all of my WIPs, I worked on every single one except this one. So this is what it looks like. It's one of these ones where it's a printed picture and then you sort of stitch over the top to embellish. So this is how it started the year and this is how it finished the year. So there you can see that's the printed on. If I go in really, really close, you can see that there is some stitching on the teacup and the sort of brown shadow bit beside it. If I go in really close, there you go, you can see. So yeah, so it's basically you kind of stitch over the top of the printing. So there is a little bit of artistic license that you have to take because what they show on the pattern doesn't exactly necessarily match what's on the picture. So that's another kit one. So using obviously the printed fabric and the the threads that came with the kit. Right, so that was started the 4th of September. Then on the 10th of September, oh, so then this is the smallest of the little bags. So this is Sistine Chapel picture. This is my Victorian Strawberries scissor keep. And it started the year looking like, oh, here we go. It started the year looking like that. So that's one side of it. And it's now looking like, oops. So I've done, oops, upside down. My cupcake got me confused. That was a Sassy Pouch birthday needle minder. Most of the other needle minders, well, some of them are mine, some of them are not, but most of them are mine. So yeah, so anyway, made quite a bit of progress. Done the first layer of border. The back just has the border and then some initials in the middle, which this particular piece, it's based on a pair of slippers from that Queen Victoria had, hence the Victorian. Okay, so that one, oh, so that's again another kit, so using the kit fabric and threads. That was started on the 10th of September. Then the next one was started on the 19th of September. This was one of my biggest WIPs. Bauble tablecloth. So again, it's a kit, came with the tablecloth and all threads. And this is the one where I really like this pattern. So with their here. Oops. With the threads, so as you go down, so you know, starting with the palest one, you can see it's an open diamond, sorry, open circle, then the next one's partly colored in circle, and then a full colored in circle as you go down the gradation of colors. So then, you know, again with the blue starts with an open square, then you go to a window, then you go to a half colored in square. It's so sensible. Anyway, so bauble tablecloth started the year with one bauble mostly done. So there's the bauble, so you can see I've only done half of the bow. That's all I had left to do was the other side of the bow, and then that bauble was finished. But that bauble, it had got its 200 stitches, so it qualified as a WIP. So that was my start for the year. And I got a second bauble done. Oh, so I finished the first one. I did the other side of the little bow, and I've done the whole of the next bauble. So yeah, this one's quite big. There are 8 baubles down each side. But I figure if I just keep plodding along and doing a bauble here and there, one day it will be ready to use. So this is another teaser project bag with fabric that I found and gave to her to make for me. So coordinated color inside. She chose the red zip, and then I made a little Christmas angel zipper pull to go with it. Okay. So that was 19th of September. Then the 26th of September. It must have been something I was doing in September 2020 that was starting a new thing every week. I don't remember. Not sure. So this one is in a Sassy Pouch project bag. that I got. This is my Ladybug needle roll. It started the year looking like this. This is a little tiny one. So this is another one that shouldn't be too hard to get finished this year. That way up. So that's where it's up to. So I finished the little ladybug in the middle. I just have to sew these little green hearts in each the other corners, and then finish filling in the border, and then fully finish it. So yeah, shouldn't be too hard, one would think, but yeah, that border. So what I've done so far is 4 different colors, and then there's 1 more to go. Oh, and sorry, that's just in the flower bits, and then this in the corner is the beginnings of another little ladybug. You can't quite see. No, you can't see it in that picture because they're off the edge. Anyway, but yes, there's a little ladybug in each corner, and so that's 2 shades of pink and black and back stitching. As I said, very fiddly. Looks good, just very fiddly. So I'll go slow. That's the only slight difficulty with that one. So again, that was a kit. Right. Then my next one, this was started for the Mittagong Stitches Retreat 2020. It was an online retreat. No, it wasn't started for. No, it was. It was started for 2020. Thinking, hang on, I didn't start anything new last year. No, it started in 2020. So this is the Timeless Elegance Ornaments, and I started on this one. It's a Dimensions Gold. So again, it's looks really good, but lots and lots of layers of colors and tweeded, like one strand of one strand of another, just to add to the different layers of shading and various things. So it started the year looking like this. So that's the half crosses are 1 strand of pale purple, 1 strand of pale blue, and then the full crosses are the same 2 colors but in full crosses. That's where that one started the year. And that's where I got up to. So if I go in close, you can see all the different, oh, it focuses. Maybe not. It is focusing on, I've got a couple of dirty marks on the fabric. Oh well, I'll have to be careful and wash that. Oh, there we go. Now you can see, so you can see all the different like shading and layers of shading, which is lovely. It's just, yeah, fiddly, but again, significant progress. Well, for me, significant progress. So yes, maybe I should set the goal to try and get at least that first one finished by the end of 2020. Yeah, we'll see. Okay. The other start that I had for the Mittagong, no, not for Mittagong Stitches Retreat. Okay, so again, that was a kit. So using the Ada and threads from the kit. Okay, then my next one, oops, was started on the 27th of December 2020. And it's my Beatrix Potter sampler. I did this one for my oldest nephew when he was a baby. And so I'm doing it for my other brother's oldest son, but reversed so that the animals will be on the opposite sides. Yeah, just so then it's not exactly the same as what I've already done. So this one doesn't look like a whole lot yet. Didn't start the year looking like a whole lot. Still doesn't look like a whole lot. Anyway, there you go. That's where it started the year. As I said, not a whole lot, but a start. 20. It's 200 stitches, so it did qualify as a WIP, and we are now so I've almost finished that center circle. There are two colors in that. We're going close. There you go. You can see inside is a slightly darker kind of yellowy color. So this one is on 32 count antique white linen and DMC threads. This is another teaser bag with material that I chose. Right, so that's all the pieces that I started 2020 with. Then during 2021, we were allowed one new start with the no new starts. So I started Yoda for a friend of mine. So yeah, started the year as a new start, and it's now, doesn't look anything like a Yoda, but if I hold them up. So you can see the black here, that's sort of this, yeah, bit under his throat. So yeah, it doesn't really, I'm sure it will look more like Yoda when I get a little bit more done, but at the moment it's just a avocado green. It's smashed avocado, that's what it is. Or something. This is on a piece of, it's one of the piece out of one of the grab bags from Sew It All. It's 28 count even weave, and it's can't really tell. If I put something white next to it, you can see that it's, yeah, it's not white. It's slightly brownish. Because I thought white was a bit too stark. It's the 5 shades of avocado. This is in one of the zip up bags. I've got quite a few of these. Lisa does too. We got them from Daiso. They were $2.80. They're now $3.10. They put their prices up. And so I just use different colored key tags to tell me which one's which, because they only come in grey. But I quite like them. It's mesh, but it's not that sort of plasticky mesh. It's fine enough that the needle's not going to stick through, but I can see through to see what's in it, which is always useful. Right, then these next ones are my end of no new starts 2021 Starter-palooza, 12 days of Christmas, start all the things before no new starts again. So the first one was one that I had actually started. Oh, so Yoda was started on 4th of May, which is Star Wars Day. May the 4th be with you. Haha. So I figured that was a suitable time to start it. So this one was actually started before that, but didn't make it to 200 stitches, so it wasn't a WIP. So that's my Ho 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 ornament. I started this on New Year's Eve 2020, but it didn't get to 200 stitches, so it didn't make it in for no new starts 2021. So it is now up to there. So it's definitely more than 200 stitches now. Most of that border is only half crosses, so I had to do double. But yeah, again, that's a kit, so it comes with the felt and the wire to make it into the little hanger thing. Kind of useful when it gives you all the bits. So this next one is another kit one, another very small one. This was started on the 14th of December 2021. It's Just Nan Romeo Mouse. So there's a Romeo and Juliet. I'm stitching the Romeo, and a friend of mine is stitching the Juliet for another friend's daughter who got married last year. So this is another one that has to get finished. This is on the called for material, which is 32 count Zweigart Silvery Moon Belfast linen. And that was my start for the year. So not a whole lot. I mean, it's more than 200 stitches. The whole mouse is probably maybe maximum of 800, so it shouldn't take me too long to get him finished. At least the stitching finished. Sewing him up and turning him into a mouse, that might take a little bit longer. But I do have all these bits, his hat and his tail and all the pieces. That's just another little mesh zipper bag. Right, then my next one start was the 20th of December, Cross Stitch Nation by Heartstring Samplery. So this is the one that a bunch of us Shady Trees ladies are doing. We've adapted it. So instead of saying BWT down here, it's going to say Shady Trees and 2022. This is on a piece of PaddockLaneDesigns fabric. Lisa dyed a piece of fabric for each of us to do, and I'm using Silks for You. I'm using a combination of colors. Some Silks for You, Cottage Garden threads, some color stream threads, because what happened was each of us have chosen what color we want our dress to be, and as much as possible everybody's sort of doing those kind of colors. So yeah, so I've got some sort of purpley blue Silks for You. Oh, that's quite good. Turquoisey one, and this is the one that I've started with. So this is, oops, there we go, that's my start, kind of Easter egg colors. So yep, that's my start. So the plan is we're going to do it as a stitch along. We're going to meet up online every Thursday and work on that together. And that's in my, oops, my newest project bag by Quilted Hugs by Sue. She's on Etsy. Okay, 3 to go. 23rd of December. This is my koala biscorner. It was one of the patterns that we got from the Mittagong Stitchers Retreat 2019. I am doing this on a piece of 32 count Herman Christmas green. Again, this is a big piece of material, and I'm just starting in one corner, and I've done an upside down koala butt so far. I really need to do some more on that so it doesn't look like just a koala butt. So that it looks a bit more like a koala and a tree or something. But I have discovered that green even weave is not the easiest thing to stitch on. I think it's because, like, when I started it, I was using dark brown thread on dark green material. That was a challenge. But I will persevere because it's the perfect color material to do it on, to match the pattern. And for that one, I am using DMC thread. Okay, the next one is, oh, hang on, this one I need to have a picture up. I do not have a cover. I haven't, it's a PDF chart, and I haven't printed the, I printed the chart, I didn't print the cover picture. So this is Caterpillar Cross Stitch Deck the Halls. Oops, is it gone? There it is. Okay. So it looks like the cover pick. So I am doing this on 32 count basalt splash with white dots Lugana. I saw someone else did it on that color and it looks so good. Like the bright colors in the pattern pop on it. It's really cool. So there is my start. Sort of the beginnings of mistletoe. But yeah, so this is the material. So I may actually leave out some of the snowflakes that are in the pattern because my material already has them. But I'll see when I get to that point. I'll stitch the main part of it and then decide. So I'm using just the called for DMCs for that one. That's in another one of my little mesh bags. Right, and this is my last piece, my biggest piece, another teaser Outlander. I have to say I was a book fan, mainly because, so the first book in the Outlander series came out 20 something years ago, and it was called Cross Stitch, at least in Australia. I know in America, I think it was called Outlander, but in Australia it was called Cross Stitch. And I had started stitching at that point. I borrowed it from the school library and read it and loved it, and then discovered that it was just the first one. I got book 9 for Christmas. I haven't watched all of the show. The show, like it's based on the books, but it does diverge from the books in certain parts. Anyway, so in my Outlander book, Outlander project bag, I am doing my Stitch in Time. Get it? Outlander, cross stitch, time travel, Stitch in Time. It all works. So this is my first page. I'm doing this on 20 count. Easy grid, easy count. I don't know which is the one with the grey lines. I've seen grey lines, red lines, and green lines. I'm not quite sure which one's which. Anyway, here we go. There is my little tiny start and my Claire and Jamie needle minder to go with my Claire and Jamie bag. I like things to be matching. So yes, so that's my major start on my massive piece of material. Oh, sorry, hang on. There we go. Massive piece of material. But yeah, that's my start. This one, Lisa's recommendation, I am using CXC threads, just because they are, well, she's been using them for a while. She's quite happy with the coverage she gets from them, and for a project like this is not for all of the massive size of that. I'm not doing the super size. I'm doing the regular size, but I am doing the max color. So there's 237 colors. So I decided CXC was a more economical way of kitting this project up. Yep. So that's it. That's all my WIPs. Most of them are going into No New Starts 2022 with me. The only one that is not is the Cats in Stockings. So the other ones all are, which gives me 24 WIPs that I'm starting the year with. As with last year, my major goal will just be to stitch on all of them. I will attempt to actually stitch on all of them, particularly the sewing with Mama printed one that I did no work on last year. I would like to get some of the little ones finished, particularly, well, Romeo Mouse needs to be finished because we need to give that to the bride and groom. The bookmark is very close to a finish. The Ladybug needle roll is very close to a finish, and really to a certain extent so is the little scissor keep. So yeah, I'm not doing WIP Go or any of those things. I'm not actually writing down any particular goals, but yes, didn't have any finishes last year. So yeah, so it would be nice to have a couple, even if it's just the little small ones, and make some progress on all of them, particularly focusing on the one for my nephew, the Peaceful Kingdom. Teresa Wenzel one. I've decided with that one that I might see about converting it into Pattern Keeper, because it is very confetti heavy, and that might be a little bit easier than just trying to go looking at the paper pattern. And what I usually do is I'll sort of look at one particular symbol and just put a highlight dot in all of the squares that I can see that are that symbol, like close to where I'm starting, so that it sort of gives me a bit of a, okay, I'm going to do this bit and then go over here. I did try doing like a 10 by 10 square and parking, and it didn't work for me. I'm much more comfortable doing the sort of cross-country bit. Putting the gridding in, I'm hoping will help with that as well. That was, I can't believe that I started doing it without gridding. But yes, put some of the gridding in, so that's helping a little bit. And sort of as I move one direction or the other, I'll put more of the rows in when I get to that point. So yeah, so that's me for 2021. Slightly belated Happy New Year, everyone, and happy stitching. See you next time.
All right, I said I'd be back with a bit of a Paddock Lane Designs update. I'm very excited to announce that we have a new fabric line in Paddock Lane Designs that is going up onto my website and Etsy today, and that is my new Prim range. Here's the first pieces that are dyed in the Prim range, and they are in 4 different colorways that we've got. We have got Smoky, which is going up in a 32 count even weave and a 40 count linen today. We have got Blush, which is a really, it's not showing up very well, it's a really pale pink. Let's see if this one shows up any better. Not really, but a really pale pink. We have got the Prim, which is like a cross between a pink and a tan. We've got the Paper Bark, which is a lot like the parchment, and as I said, the different colors in the different fabrics, so you can look forward to them. They are also going to be available on Daisy Chain Stitchery and JK's Cross Stitching as usual. I'm also today going to be putting up a sale. I've got a few fabrics that have got dye spots in them, and they're perfectly good fabrics, and usually you end up stitching over the dye spots anyway, but I'm going to put a 50% sale on those particular pieces. So hop on over to PaddockLaneDesigns.com and check out the sale pieces. All right, guys, that's it from me. Have a great week of stitching, and I'll look forward to catching you next time. Bye.